Mrs. Johnston, welcome back. Time for knowledge, science, and social studies today. We are still working on Unit 8 Knowledge, Seasons and Weather, and on Lesson 6. We've learned the proper sequence of the 4 seasons in the year for most of the United States. Remember, our pen pal Annie has written to you and told you about the 4 seasons. Which characteristics can you tell me of the season of winter? Did you say it's cold? There's snow and ice, and it happens in the months of December, January, and February. So, what are some of the characteristics of spring? Did you say spring? It starts to get warmer. It stays light longer. There's a lot of rain. Trees begin to blossom and leaves grow on them. On farms, babies are born. And spring happens in the months of March, April, and May. After spring, we move into the month of summer. So can you give me some of the characteristics of summer? Summer, the days are the longest with the most sunlight. It's hot. We celebrate the holiday of the 4th of July. We wear light clothing like bathing suits and shorts, tank tops. And the season of summer takes place in June, July, and August. Which takes us to the last season, which is autumn or fall. Can you tell me some characteristics of autumn or fall? In fall, did you remember that the weather gets cooler, that the days start getting shorter, leaves fall off the deciduous trees? We celebrate the holidays of Halloween and Thanksgiving, and that autumn happens in the months of September, October, and November. Today, you are not going to hear from Annie. Instead, you're going to hear a story that is about different seasons of the year. Do you remember any of the fables that we've heard earlier in the year? In our very first unit, we heard the lion and the mouse, the dog and his reflection, and the hare and the tortoise. There was a man named Aesop who lived in Greece a very long time ago. And I'm going to get the globe, and let's see if we can find Greece on our globe. So, remember, here is North America, and we are in the United States, and we live in Michigan. And if we travel over to Europe, Greece is located in Europe. And that is where Aesop, a man who lived in Greece a very long time ago, wrote stories. We are going to hear another story today from Aesop. He was a great storyteller. He was known for collecting and retelling many short stories called fables. Stories that were passed down orally or by word of mouth from parents to children and from neighbor to neighbor for thousands of years. Stories today can still be passed down, although many stories are also written down and read in books. Fables often have animals as characters in the story instead of people. When an animal or thing acts like a person in a story, the writing technique that the author is using is called personification. Can you say that word with me? Personification. Personification is when animals in a story talk and act like people do. Like all fables, Aesop's fables were intended to teach a lesson called the moral of the story. So, who can tell me what is an author of a story? Did you say a person who writes the book? What is the name of the Greek storyteller known for writing fables? Aesop is known for writing fables. What is another name for the lesson of a story? Another name for the lesson of the story is the moral. Today, you are going to hear the story of the grasshopper and the ants, one of Aesop's many fables. This story takes place throughout the different seasons of the year. Listen carefully so that you can identify the different seasons and learn what happens in the story. Listen to find out what moral or lesson the grasshopper learns at the end of the fable. In a field on a fine summer's day, a grasshopper was hopping about, singing and dancing and enjoying himself. Nearby, a group of ants was hard at work. They had built their house underground, and they were filling it with food to last them through the long, cold winter ahead. They were filling the house with lots of food during the summer so that they would have enough to eat throughout the entire winter. "Why not come play with me?" asked the grasshopper. "Why bother about winter? We have plenty of food now. Come, leave your work. Now's the time to dance and sing." But the ants paid no attention to the grasshopper. They kept working hard all day and every day. Why do you think the ants are working so hard? That's right, so they have plenty of food. But not the grasshopper. All summer long, while the ants worked, he jumped about the field and danced and sang. Sometimes he'd sit for hours and listen to the humming of the bees, or watch the butterflies flitting about, or take long, lazy naps in the warm sun. And when he woke up, he would sing this song: The summertime's the time for me, for then I'm happy as can be. I watch the butterflies and bees as they fly around as they please. Oh, summertime's the time for me, for I'm as happy as can be. Yes, the grasshopper was a happy fellow, but he never thought about the future. He never thought about what would happen later in time. In the future, he only thought about what was happening right now in the present. One day, the grasshopper woke up and felt a chill in the air. Then he saw the leaves turn red, gold, and brown and fall from the trees. Then the days kept getting cooler, and soon the grasshopper saw no butterflies or bees. In the fields where he liked to sing and dance turned bare and hard. Bare means not covered. The leaves fell off the trees, and the grass in the fields died. What season of the year is it now? Did you say autumn? Soon the cold days of winter were upon him, and the grasshopper was freezing and hungry. He came to the ant's house and knocked on the door. Why do you think the grasshopper is knocking at the ant's door? He's hungry, cold, lonely. What do you want? Asked the ants. May I come in and share your food? Asked the grasshopper. What did you do all summer? Asked the ants. Didn't you put away some food to use now? Didn't you save food during the summer to use for now? No, said the shivering grasshopper. The word shivering means he was shaking from the cold. I didn't think of that while I was singing and dancing in the sun. So, said the ants meanly, you sang and danced all summer while we worked. Well, now you can sing and dance while we eat. Was that a nice thing for the ants to say to the grasshopper? Did you say no? Or did you say yes? Would you have helped the grasshopper if you were the ants? And as the hungry grasshopper walked away, he sang this song. Next time I'll work as well as dance, then I'll be ready like the ants. What is the season at the beginning of the fable? Summer is the season at the beginning of the fable. What season comes after summer? Autumn is the season that comes after summer. What is the season at the end of the fable? Winter is the season at the end of the fable. What changes happen to the weather and the trees in autumn after the summer ends? The trees become bare, and there is less food for the animals to eat. Describe the grasshopper at the beginning of the fable during the summer. At the beginning of the fable in the summer, the grasshopper is playful and happy. Describe the ants during the summer. During the summer, the ants are hardworking and looking for food to save for the winter. In the fable, who is thinking about what would happen later in time, in the future, the grasshopper or the ants? The ants are thinking about the future because they are saving food to eat during the winter. What happened to the grasshopper at the end of the fable? The grasshopper was hungry and had no food at the end of the fable. Why? He didn't work hard like the ants, so he didn't have any food saved to eat. What do you think the moral or lesson of the story is? You need to think ahead and prepare for the future. Were the ants right to turn the grasshopper away? What would you have done? Mrs. Johnston is kind, and so I would have probably shared my food with the grasshopper in hopes that he still learned his lesson and that he would work harder next summer. I hope you enjoyed our fable today, learning about the ants and the grasshopper.